Yo, what is up guys? It is Bumfris, back with episode 45 of our Reddit series. This one's going to be some NuclearRevenge, and I know you're going to love this one. This one got an overwhelming amount of requests, so I have a really good feeling about this, so a quick thank you to everyone who made this suggestion. If you're new around here and you want to see more of these or you like my stuff, don't forget to smash the subscribe button, but otherwise sit back, relax, and laugh at some NuclearRevenge. This happened about a year ago. I had just returned from a business-related trip to the frozen north of Canada, of which I had been gone for about 8 months. During this time, my wife had kept me apprised of everything going on in the neighbourhood, as well as her suspicion that our new neighbours behind us, henceforth known as DDN for drug dealing neighbours, were dealing drugs. Since I'm all about keeping my family safe, I install security cameras all around and inside my house. Most of my neighbours were perfectly fine with the cameras, and a few asked if I could set theirs up if they brought them. DDN, however, was not pleased. He waited until I was heading out to my car and confronted me, demanding that I take them down. The DDN walks up to me and says, "Hey, take those mother effing cameras down. I don't need no one knowing my business." So I respond saying, "No, they're watching my property. They can't even see into your yard at all." Clearly still not happy, he goes, "Man, F you. Take those down or I will." So I respond saying, "If I ever see you on my property, you'll leave in a body bag." At this point, I know my wife's suspicions were well founded. I watched the camera feeds and started noting that he had a lot of quick visitors around 3 AM. Cars would pull up in front of my driveway, he'd meet them, exchanges were made, and the cars would leave. Not too long after, I got a motion alert on 2 of my cameras and my dog started going nuts. I saw my front door handle move and it's go time. I grabbed my shotgun and rushed to the front door, but as soon as I tried opening it, my beagle tried bolting outside, howling at the trespassers. Unable to deal with him and properly hold a 12 gauge, I opt to keep my dog and yell at the 2 men standing there to get the F off my property. That night, my motorcycle was stolen because they broke the lock off and every camera on the ground floor had to be repositioned or replaced. I checked the footage and watched as DDN walked up to them and hit them. I was done being a bystander. I contacted the police, but even with security footage, they claimed there was nothing they could do. I was furious. I knew who did it, had the proof, and there was nothing I could do about it. Yet. For the next couple of days, I started studying municipal and building codes. I started filing report after report on my DDN. Broken down cars in the yard, that's a violation. Broken gutters hanging off the roof, that's a violation. Barking dogs after 10 PM, that's a violation. I nickel and dimed them for anything I could, hoping to goad them into doing something. I put tainted gas in the gas can on the back of my Jeep, which was unsurprisingly stolen, and then suddenly their dirt bike engine blew up the next night. DDN confronted me again, threatening that if the complaints didn't stop, he couldn't guarantee my dogs or my wife would be safe. Heated words were exchanged. He stormed up to me and the encounter ended with weapons drawn and both of us going back inside our homes. Finally, the coup de grace. Remember the security footage of DDN's late night visitors? I filed a report with the Counter Narcotics Division and included everything. License plate numbers, car models and colors, all the information I'd gathered for the past few months. They got enough security footage for a search warrant and the other evidence made sure it wasn't a friendly visit. I got to watch the security cameras as SWAT descended on their house. I got to see DDN and everyone else let out in handcuffs. I later found out the dogs I had called about were being bred and used as bait dogs. The police confiscated a small arsenal and enough drugs that those a-holes won't be out of jail until I'm retired. You know, I wasn't too sure how this one was going to pan out, but the longer that I read this, the more it became evident that this fits into ProRevenge, NuclearRevenge, and Petty Revenge. It's actually such a great story that I think it deserves a lot more upvotes than it has on both subreddits. I guess it turns out revenge is best served while you're sitting in your lounge room and the other guy's in prison. So this is actually collectively a few days worth of mess ups. First off, a bit of background story. My ex cheated on me for 2.5 years worth of our 6-year relationship. I found out by a mutual friend of ours accidentally spilling the beans. She lived with her parents on the other side of the state when I moved away for college, which is important later. The relationship was over at that point. Fast forward to about a few months ago, when I was cleaning out my apartment to move again, I found a ton of her stuff, including various adult toys, including a harness and restraints. I put it all in a box intending to get rid of it because I'm super resentful of her at this point. Her parents are super conservative Christians living in a Bible club area on a lake. People would go on like getaways there. I'm not entirely sure of the terms it's actually called, but that's how I understand it. Anyway, Cue one bad day of day drinking and venting to a vengeful girl who hated her guts from day one, and she gives me an idea to ship all of her toys to her address with her dad's name on the box with a letter that states exactly what happened and why I stopped seeing her. I didn't really think anything of it. I signed it off with a "your daughter left a few things at my apartment, she might want them back to help her life with John." Dad receives a package Friday, messages me today saying, "Thanks for making me aware of what my sinful daughter has done to you. Please don't think bad of us. We were unaware this had happened and the situation has been taken care of." Turns out, taken care of means kicked out of the house and entirely excommunicated from her family. Her parents want nothing to do with her and won't speak to her. She's now homeless and has nowhere to really go because John doesn't have the space to take her in yet. So not only did I get back at her in the most spiteful way, I may have ruined her chance at a stable life, and heaven only knows what will happen here on out. When this dude sent the parcel, I can't imagine that he ever could have pictured this happening in his head. I mean, he clearly knew something bad would happen, but to be so spiteful that she ended up getting kicked out of the house is crazy. I guess that's the point of nuclear revenge, right? I work as a train driver. I drive smaller trains, mostly out of the countryside, and people are generally nice and well behaved. But of course, there are also the alcoholics, drug addicts, and general weirdos that use public transport, and some people that just live to be a pain in the ass. This was a few years ago. We were traveling in the late afternoon and my conductor, let's say C, storms into the driver cabin, angry and annoyed, and tells me, "We have 2 rude, good-for-nothing guys on board and they're such a-holes." So I ask him what they did and he says they have no tickets, refuse to pay, just laughs up in my face and are saying, "What are you gonna do about it?" So I say, "What the hell? Should I help you throw them off at the next stop?" And he says to me, "We can't because they're just traveling 1 station, so they're getting off at the next stop anyway." Goddamn smug guys with their "what are you gonna do about it?" So they're both angry and I let the conductor rant and let off some steam. Next stop comes and the guy gets off. The conductor angrily gestures at them, "That's them effers." We continue the short remaining journey and have a break at the end station. Some hours later, the train then goes back. Since it's in the countryside and it's a late weekend evening, the train is almost empty on the way back. The conductor knows where every passenger on board is getting off and she's up front with me, chatting, and it's all fine again. Until we approach the station where we let those guys off and we see 2 people standing there. It is them. My conductor beside me shines up like a goddamn sun. She says with the biggest smile on her face, "Do not stop." And I'm just laughing, slowing down the train, not stopping though. When we pass them, my conductor opens the window, waves, and says loud and happy, "This is what I'm gonna do about it." The guys are just staring at her with their jaws on the ground when we drive past them. We laugh all the way to our home station. We were the last train for the day. I wrote in the comments that we encountered these guys again a few weeks later, and I'll post it here as well because these guys did not learn the first time. They apparently got on the same station like last time, but we didn't notice them. They had plans to travel further than last time. But when the conductor went to check out the tickets, it went like this. The conductor spots them, recognizes them, and says loudly among the other travelers, "Ooh, are you able to pay for your tickets today?" They just fidget and say, "No, we ain't got no money." So the train conductor says, "Well, ain't that a shame? Guess you have to get off at the next stop." And then annoyed they say, "What the F? Can't you just be nice and let us be? What the F are we gonna do at that crappy station?" So the conductor says, "I don't give an effing damn. You're going off this train and you can walk to the next station. And I'm calling the train behind us so they won't pick you up either." They got off and the other train called us later because they said they saw the guys on a forest path along the railway track. And I haven't seen these guys since. I wonder if this was finally the kick up the backside that these kids needed to learn their lesson. I think it'd be fun to see this extend into nuclear revenge again. Just never ever let them on a train again. Make sure every conductor knows and just don't let them near one. I mean, it might seem a little bit harsh, but at the end of the day, it's nuclear revenge, right? This one's a little bit different, but it's definitely some nuclear revenge. After World War II, a man named Abba Kovner had banded together 50 Jewish Holocaust survivors to form a group called Nakum, which means revenge in Hebrew. As the name insists, Nakum's primary goal was to get revenge on the German people. They had 2 plans, Plan A and Plan B. Plan A consisted of poisoning the water supply of 5 German cities, most of which I don't know how to pronounce, so they're on the screen. So in September 1994, Abba and other Nakum members had sailed to Palestine, now Israel, to obtain poison from Chaim Weizmann, the president of the World Zionist Organization, who was also a chemist. Abba also obtained poison from the future president of the organization, named Ephraim Katzir. On December 14, 1945, Abba was sailing his way back to Europe on a British ship with a fake identity and the poison concealed in condensed milk cans, but he never made it back. To Abba's dismay, word of his plot to poison the German people had got out, and the British people had discovered who he was and called him out for questioning. The poison was quickly thrown overboard by the other Narcom members on the boat before the police got to it, but Abba was still arrested and sent to an Egyptian prison. After the original plan had failed, a new leader named Joseph Haramat stepped up, and he then decided to carry out Plan B, which was to target the Allied POW camps, Stalag 13D, and kill the Nazi POWs by poisoning them with the arsenic they obtained. So in the early mornings of April 13th, 1946, they proceeded to infiltrate the bakery that supplied the prison camp, and they poisoned 3,000 loaves of bread. Ultimately, it was reported that 2,000 Nazi prisoners were sickened by the arsenic. Unfortunately, it is unclear as to how many had died, but it was reported that the death toll was several hundred. I feel like there would be plenty of good nuclear revenge stories from war times, but at the same time, this one here is a perfect blend of pro-revenge and nuclear revenge. Also, on a side note, I'm sorry I probably pronounced every single name wrong, and it's probably the last time I try and read something where there's at least 15 things I don't know how to pronounce. Alright everyone, that is that for today's episode of Nuclear Revenge. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys like something a little bit different. I tried to find stories that had a blend of both, or at least some stories that I thought were really good from either subreddit. Let me know if you want to see this type of thing again. It does make it easier for me to make longer videos, and I quite enjoy it as well. Just a quick thank you for all the subscribers we've gained recently. We're super close to 170,000, and that 200,000 mark isn't far away. So yeah, thank you to every single person who subscribed. You're all amazing, and I appreciate you all. But otherwise, that does wrap things up for today's video. I just want to say again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for some more Entitled Parents. Bye.